What is up, Coggers? It's your boy, Editing Rick, and today we got something a little different for you. A little behind-the-scenes jam. A while back, we had a video with a small segment explaining briefly how we make Robot Co-op, and ever since, we've gotten requests to make it its own video and maybe expand on it a little bit. Now, it's a little weird because this actually isn't how we make Robot Co-op anymore. Generally, this is not how we make the live Twitch version of Robot Co-op. This video should really be called How We Used to Make Robot Co-op and How It Nearly Drove Us into Bankruptcy. But we are doing at least one more episode in this style to say thank you for the years of support, and if it does better than usual, it'll become a full series. So it seemed apropos to finally let you peek up Topsy's skirt. I hope it's everything you wanted it to be. Just a warning, this is really going to show you how the sausage gets made, and this peek behind the curtain may kind of spoil things for you. So if you don't want all the mystique of how we make this show poo-pooed, if the show really feels to you like a guy and a couple of his robot buddies improvising jokes over video games, and you want to keep it that way, this video may not be for you. Alright, you've been warned. Roll that logo and let's ruin this show. Okay, now just to reiterate, we're covering how we whipped up episodes of scripted Robot Co-op, not the improvised Twitch version of the show. That's a whole other very wild animal, which very fortunately exists because I think we'd probably be broke without it at this point. The live version of the show gave us a whopping 33% more income. We'll get into later how we ended up in this very strange situation where we can work 100% harder for 1% of the pay. There's a very good reason we stopped producing episodes in this style. I may really miss the super polished end result, but I do not miss the production process. Because we can only afford a one-man production team, it was an incredibly unhealthy amount of work to produce a show like this, especially with a deadline looming over your head, which we had. Thanks for letting us off the hook on that. This is the kind of show you need to produce with a staff. But as stressful and financially ruinous as it was to produce Robot Co-op in this format, like I said, I really miss it, and I know a lot of you do too. So I thought it might be fun to go pick apart its corpse. Now, a lot of this is also going to apply to the way we did things when we called the show Incognito Gaming Warriors XP, and we were 3% less marketable than we are now. A lot of this is also going to apply to how we made Incognito Cinema Warriors XP. Anyway, without further ado, let's get this autopsy on the road. Except for in some very rare cases, I think Ninja Clowns, and of course, Claire's B scenario or second run of Resident Evil 2, I go in and capture gameplay footage by myself and record a scratch commentary track along with it. Scratch meaning it's just a rough idea, and it's all gonna get tossed out and re-recorded if there is anything worthwhile recorded. Usually there's not. At least when I'm by myself. Jason and Zach came in and we played through Claire's entire campaign in the Resident Evil 2 remake, and the scratch commentary track the three of us put down has been invaluable. Oh! Okay.
I think she forgot to look at her crotch.
Yeah, Claire, kids may be out of the question. When I pee, it's gonna look like a garden hose, but...
Oh, God.
It's gonna have like 7 different streams shooting out.
It's gonna come out like those lawn, like sprinklers, like...
Oh, this is good stuff here.
The neighborhood toddlers are gonna come over and run through it.
Oh, no! Thanks, guys. For real. Anyway, now that we have the game footage captured, and along with it a scratch commentary track, comes easily my least favorite part of the job. I dump all the video game footage into Adobe Premiere Pro, and tediously, meticulously fill it with the salt, sass, and shade that is Robot Co-op. What I mean is, I go in and write/record every last line, every last joke that gets said in an episode. So literally speaking, there is no script, as all of these comments are thought of and then immediately recorded. That means there is a strong element of improvisation somewhere in there. If we're doing face cams, only my lines ever end up getting written down. We'll get into that later. Now, this process would usually take me about a week because we hold ourselves to a very high commentary standard here, at least when it comes to our scripted material. The goal has always been to have just the right amount of cleverness, just the right amount of silliness. It needs to touch on technical points. It needs to touch on character traits. It needs to spawn running gags with some lasting power. So, like I said, this is my least favorite part of it. It is mentally exhausting. But after about a week of being Writing Rick, we have our script, which sounds incredibly really awkward because not only have I written/recorded my comments, I've also written/recorded everyone else's comments. That's right, there's a creepy stage where every single character in the episode is voiced by me. So you have 2 or more Ricks all jibber-jabbering at each other, and it is a nightmare. All right, let's see how bad it is. Okay.
Making Umbrella my OBGYN was the best move ever.
There goes the entire Cleon race. Well, that's what you get for stuffing wasps' nests up there. Yeah, did Marguerite Baker start manufacturing sex toys? Wasps are for killing off, not chilling off. God damn. When she pees, it is gonna look like a lawn sprinkler. The neighborhood kids come over and run through it. Come on. This uncomfortable stage of production was also what spawned the short-lived spin-off, Playing With Myself. Don't know why that didn't take off. Probably can't resurrect it either with the current state of YouTube's censorship. The title alone is gonna get it blocked in every country. But I'm sure it would clean up on Pornhub. Then Nick, Jason, or Zach, or any combination of the 3 come in and replace my temp tracks with their lovely voices. All right, let's see how bad it is. Okay.
God.
Okay.
Making Umbrella my OBGYN was the best move ever.
There goes the entire Cleon race.
That's what you get for stuffing wasps' nest up there.
Yeah, did Marguerite Baker start manufacturing sex toys?
Wasps are for killing off, not jilling off.
God damn it. When she pees, it is gonna look like a lawn sprinkler.
Oh, the neighborhood kids come over and run through it.
Now that the guys have come in to voice the bots and eliminated all those creepy extra Ricks from the sound mix, it's time to go clean up their audio tracks. See, we try to record their voice acting in giant, long takes. We just go until we hit a boo-boo. So you'll end up with this 30-minute long WAV file, and after it gets compressed, there's all kinds of nasty room tone, breath noises, chair creaks, and other farty sounds you just don't want in there. It's very tedious, but also weirdly relaxing. The long and short of it is, you highlight all the space between the lines and slap it with sweet, sweet digital silence. And this takes a while, and you have to do it for every character. Hope you brought lunch. Now Writing Rikk can hang up his writing hat and get into the more manual, labory parts of production. Getting kind of upset because all of this is forcing me to speak in the third person and it's making me sound like a narcissistic asshat. But if you watch the show, you know I'm not narcissistic, you know I'm just an asshat. So now that we have our voice acting in place, it's time to go shoot face cams. Or if this were Incognito Gaming Warriors XP, or the new episode we're making of the Resident Evil 2 remake with Claire's campaign, what we would call The Shadows. You know, the thing that got us instantly dismissed as being a top-to-bottom MST3K ripoff. Yeah, there's a reason we switched to face cams. This part's actually kind of fun, at least when it comes to doing the puppets. It's just a matter of setting up a little blue or green screen, plopping the little bastards down in front of it, getting the lighting just right, and sort of miming to the pre-recorded track.
Oh, God. Making Umbrella my OBGYN was the best move ever.
Now, the really cool part is we've actually created automated systems that react to sound in real time. So we play, for instance, Nick's isolated voice track into a microphone connected to Topsy's system, and that gives us a fully automated mouth light. And thank God, because doing that manually by hand to a pre-recorded track.
That's what you get for stuffing wasps' nest up there.
Baker start manufacturing sex toys.
Wasps are for killing off, not jilling off.
God damn it. When she pees, it is going to look like a lawn sprinkler. So when you see the face cams for our scripted episodes down in the corner of the screen, yes, it's Nick's voice, but it actually is me wiggling Topsy around and making his eyes move. And if that makes you feel weird, you're not alone.
We survive.
We crank some classic road tunes. Here I go again on my own.
Going down the only road I've ever known.
Like a drifter I was born.
Same goes for any of the other puppets that appear in our scripted episodes. That's me wiggling Flux around, and that's me loaning him my hands. There were a few episodes of Incognito Gaming Warriors XP where I had some help and we were able to shoot Rikk and Topsy together in one video pass because our buddy Steven was kind enough to come in and puppet Topsy alongside me. But in general, almost all episodes of Incognito Gaming Warriors XP, I was also the one moving all of the puppets around in separate video layers. I've kept that under wraps because it's magic poison and sounds like I'm bragging, but fuck it. You guys wanted to know. And for God's sakes, who in the hell would brag about puppetry? There's much easier ways to get people to stop seeing you as a sexual being. Sweet. So now that we have the puppets' face cams out of the way, it's time for my second least favorite part of production, shooting my face cam. But before we do that, I have to go and transcribe every single line I have in the episode into a Word document. That's right, actual work. I keep the script off to the side so I can read from it while I shoot the face cams because despite having written every word of this and having heard it thousands of times, there ain't no way in hell I'm gonna remember all this shit. Because by this point, my brain be tired and leaky. Then it's time to plug my microphone into the camera and redo, in some cases for the third time, my commentary track. Thank Cthulhu, we don't do things this way anymore.
Hey, baby, let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. Let me show you my street sharks. I've got something here with such fantastic detail, it's gonna blow you away. Hand shark! Hey, baby, let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. Let me show you my street sharks. I've got something here with such fantastic detail, it's gonna blow you away.
The links we would go to try and achieve that gold standard commentary quality. Meanwhile, as far as I can tell, every Let's Play channel on the planet aside from us just says whatever. And get at least 20,000 subscribers, no problem. That's not even considered a lot. Now that all the face cams are shot, it's time to dump them in Premiere. Or After Effects if we're doing shadows because they're just a little bit too much for Premiere to handle, and we sync the audio up. Now, what really sucks about this is we shoot on a Canon 5D Mark III DSLR camera because it gives us really great image quality, but it can only record for about 30 minutes before it auto shuts off. And throughout the 30 minutes that it is recording, it splits the file up into several other files, which makes sound syncing not so fun and very tedious. Now that we're all synced up, it's time to go in and do all the blue and green screen work. It's time to color correct or color grade the face cams to get them at their maximum sexiness, which is a real challenge with my face on the screen. Then I watch it over and over and over again, trying to find any mistakes, and I lose all objectivity and any idea as to whether or not this is actually funny. And mistakes still slip through, as I'm sure you've noticed.
Undead hillbillies.
So if we're happy with the episode at this point, we push the big render button and probably go to sleep because it's probably 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. We get up, we open the file that was pooped out and watch one more time for any mistakes, like render errors, where weird shit just happens. And if so, we have to push the render button again and probably wait 6 or 7 hours to see if it shit the bed again. That was fun, especially back when we were doing episodes in this style, because if we didn't get the episode up in time to meet our Patreon deadline, we weren't making any money for the month. Neat. Thankfully, you guys let us become a monthly Patreon account instead of a per creation Patreon account, which means we get paid every month no matter what, so long as we're pumping out something, and you don't hate it. Now, mostly what's left to do is to hop into Photoshop, put together a snazzy thumbnail, get the file uploading, pay the plugin TubeBuddy to suggest tags that do absolutely not one goddamn thing to help the video get discovered, and call it a day. For a day, before you have to start thinking about the next game, the next episode. Now, like I said earlier, the way we do things now is very different. The live streams are in many ways much, much easier because that whole writing process is more or less cut completely out of it. I do jot down riff notes, anything I think of that's funny ahead of time or something that might be an amusing topic to delve into, but that's it. With the live streams, it's mostly a lot of prep work, and none of it requires anywhere near the mental power it takes to write 30 minutes of the most clever commentary you can possibly manage. but it is still a ton of work. And after we stream, I still have to come in here and do a ton of editing to get it up to snuff for YouTube. Most of that editing is in the sound mix. If you want to watch me fix a huge audio problem that we had on a recent stream, check out the video appearing in the upper right-hand corner now. It's putting up with a lot of random technological failure bullshit. It's a lot of turning it off and turning it back on again, and then pulling your computer completely apart when that doesn't work. And there are parts of it that are really, really stressful and require a ton of work that sometimes make me miss certain parts of doing things this way. But I don't want to get into them because I would like to still maintain a little bit of an air of mystique around the live streams for now. Mostly, it's a lot of being cramped and tripping over wires. All right, boys and girls and bots, I'm going to try to wrap this up. But before I do, it'd be super cool if you indulged me in a little bit of reflective retrospection. I really want to know what you guys think on this topic. So why put in all this extra effort to script the commentary? Doesn't this seem insane and kind of out of touch with Let's Plays? Well, as I'm sure most of you know, for years we produced a movie riffing show that was heavily inspired by MST3K and riff tracks, where you very meticulously script out every little comment you make, and that's just not the wavelength that Let's Plays are on. I don't really know that marrying traditional riffing with the spontaneity of Let's Plays is the match made in heaven that I thought it was. Traditional riffing fans, that is, fans of Mystery Science Theater 3000, Riff Tracks, Cinematic Titanic, what have you, want tightly scripted, hyper-clever commentary. What I call superhuman or psychic commentary. Commentary that magically always knows when the actors in the film, or in this case the video game, are going to stop talking and don't talk over them. If the actors are going to pause for exactly 2 seconds, you're going to hear a joke that perfectly fits within 2 seconds, generally speaking. And ideally, scripted comedic commentary is supposed to exhibit a level of cleverness and quick-wittedness that very few people have off the cuff. Except maybe Jimmy Carr. That motherfucker's brilliant. Conversely, people who watch Let's Plays want the commentary to be completely spontaneous. It damn sure doesn't need to be clever, and you don't even need to be funny, but it helps. Then again, I've seen plenty of comments on other Let's Play channels thanking the uploader for not trying to be funny. I've seen just as many on channels that don't even do commentary thanking the uploader for not talking. But I think that stems from the more obnoxious Let's Players out there. Incorrect! Incorrect! In fact, the only other Let's Play channel I've ever even heard of that scripted their comments like this lost a ton of subscribers when it got out that they were scripting their comments. Scripting your comments in the genre of Let's Play seems to be super taboo as far as I can tell. And I think that can be traced back to the very first Let's Plays. You're supposed to be getting very real, immediate responses. It was never intended as a delivery device for comedy, especially nuanced, clever, scripted commentary. Not that we've ever been nuanced or clever, but we've definitely been scripted. Let's not even talk about the fact people who like traditional scripted riffing tend to be in their 30s to 40s to 50s to 60s, many of whom could not give a flying fuck about video games. And people who like Let's Plays can be as young as somebody who was brewing diaper gravy last year. So there is a definite generational problem, and I don't know how well these things could ever cross over with each other. I love traditional, tightly scripted riffing, and I love video games. But maybe I'm in an incredibly small minority. I just wanted to put together two things that I love, because it didn't seem like anybody had done that yet, but maybe there was a good reason for that. Like I said, the majority of traditional riffing fans don't seem overwhelmingly interested in video games, and I feel like tightly scripting your commentary like we worked very hard to learn how to do with the Let's Play crowd just makes you come off like you're trying way too hard. So sometimes I think maybe it didn't matter how hard we worked at it or how good we got at doing things this way. This is a format that could never reach a wider audience. That traditional riffing and Let's Plays are oil and water. That we've somehow managed to make ourselves a niche of a niche of a niche of a niche. But to be completely honest, I'm not sure we're ever gonna really know if this works because we're pretty late to the Let's Play party. And with every organism on the planet uploading videos to YouTube, there's about 300 hours of video content uploaded every minute. It's a miracle when even just a few people can find this stuff to see if they even like it in the first place. Hi, glad you're here. You're a miracle. So with 300 hours of content being uploaded to YouTube every minute, I guess it makes sense that nobody can find a guy in some robots who aren't one of those guys in some robots making fun of video games that bigger, more well-established channels have already played a quadrillion times over. But grr. I don't know, man. It's probably safe to say at this point we have way overthought this, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this format is awesome and it's just limited reach? Or do you think on a fundamental level these two things don't really go together? All I know for sure is that I'm grateful I don't have to work for a month to create 30 minutes of content that makes us about $10 in YouTube ad revenue. Now we get to hop on Twitch, I bring in a few riff notes with me, we hang out with you all for 6 or 7 hours playing a goofy game, and we generally make about $1,000, which is more money than we make on YouTube over the course of several years. To sweeten the pot even more, those Patreon dollars you started to give us to make up for the lack of YouTube ad revenue come in on top of that, and while it's rough and I still sometimes can't pay my cast and crew fairly, I can at least almost always pay them something. And not being able to pay them something for their time and talent has always been the #1 thing chafing my Jacobs. You guys fix that. Papa Busey bless. All right, watch bosses, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching this. Even past the behind-the-scenes stuff and into the more ponderous and philosophical segment, I appreciate you hanging out for my riffing Let's Play genre navel-gazing. If for some reason you haven't had your fill of behind-the-scenes magic poison, here's a link to a video going into even more detail about how we make or made Robot Co-op. It's unlisted, it's never going public, so enjoy the exclusive access. I am going to get out of here. Thank you from all of us here at Robot Co-op / Incognito Gaming Warriors XP / Incognito Cinema Warriors XP / Playing With Myself / Agony Wolf Media. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Subscribe. Won't you please subscribe?